afternoon, Pradnya. Do I need headphones or should I just speak?
No, your voice is clear. It's okay. We
It's
can
okay?
hear you, sir. Yeah, yes, it's
Okay,
perfect.
then I'll put these away. Is the light okay or should I put on another light?
No, that is fine. It's okay, sir.
It's fine?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So how are we going to go about it?
Um, what I'll do is just give me 5 minutes. We'll be
Sure.
starting with the session, sir, and then we will.
Okay.
You'll be able to continue. We just wait for a few more students to join in.
No problem. And are we going to have questions and answers
Yes, at the end of the session,
at the
would
end
it
of
be
this?
okay?
Okay. So should I keep mine for about 45 minutes and then 15 minutes for questions and answers, or 1 hour and then you want to have 10,
Whatever
15?
you're comfortable, sir, with.
Okay.
You
So
can continue for an hour, and then we can take the questions.
we get it. So we'll see how the audience is, how is their response,
Yes.
what are their I mean, I'll get a feel of it as we kind of work our way through the presentation.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be able to share my screen.
Yes, you will be.
Okay, perfect. How many students are we expecting?
We have students who have already joined. We're just waiting for a few more students, sir.
No, so totally,
And
approximately how many will we
have? Around 20,
have?
15
20.
to
Okay,
20 students.
perfect. Okay. So I know how to plan.
Namaskar, Mr. Gosalia.
Namaskar. Good evening, Samir ji.
Pleasure seeing you.
Pleasure.
May I suggest that we start off now because the students will keep on joining.
Sure.
Also, the session is being recorded.
Right.
So, in case the students who are not able to see this, they will always get the benefit of your wisdom as we share the recording later with them. So, Pradnya, if I don't think we should wait anymore. It's already 3:34. We should start the session.
Sure. Yes.
Please.
Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcoming all of you to Sahas Goa chapter, a great initiative by IIHM. We have a very special guest today who will be sharing great insights on financials of opening a business. So without further ado, on behalf of our chairman, Dr. Suborno Bose, our director, Samir Mehta, our students and our IIHM family, I would like to welcome our speaker for the day, Mr. Manish Gosalia. Mr. Gosalia holds a master's degree in entrepreneurship and international business from University of Queensland, Australia. He serves as the area director Goa since 2011 on a pro bono basis for I Create, a pan-India organization involved in building grassroots level entrepreneurs. Thank you for joining us today. Over to you, Mr. Gosalia.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for welcoming me today. And I would like to appreciate IIHM for a very excellent initiative to getting students interested in entrepreneurship and taking that initiative forward, not just through your program, but offering them guidance and support and inviting speakers like me to get an interaction, share an interaction with them and get a feel of what students are planning to do. So I would like to welcome all the students today and once again, a thank you. So before I kind of jump into my presentation, I just wanted to get a feel of the students that are on this webinar. What are the things that you have kind of experienced as entrepreneurship, or what are the subjects, or what are the areas that you have covered, so that I don't repeat a lot? Is there, can I get a quick kind of, maybe on a chat or something like that? Is that possible? We have quite a few students here. And while that is happening, I'll get my presentation up. So Pratnya, if you could help me with sharing, is that, how do I get that up?
There's a share screen in this.
Sure. I'm learning the process of Zoom, a new process for me.
You'll have to just click on share,
Yeah.
and then the screen.
Yeah. Desktop 1 is fine?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the one? Are we there?
The moment you click on desktop 1, we'll be able to see your desktop.
Okay.
Yes. Whichever desktops you want to
Okay.
share.
Do bear with me while I
No.
understand the technology aspect of things. So is that visible?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let's see how we get this. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Gosalia, have you opened the presentation in a different window?
I have. I'm getting this security privacy firewall. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Or else we can share the presentation.
Yes.
If
Can
you
we
can
do
let
that?
us know.
That's fine. That's not a problem. That's perfectly all right.
Just give us a minute.
No problem.
Mr. Gosalia, if you can please tell us the name of the PPT, the presentation. You've shared a couple of them with us.
Yeah, sure. It's ENTREP, Introduction, Intro IIHM.
Okay, got it.
Perfect. That's enough. So may I begin?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right. So I think most of you must have covered this slide, must be going through a lot of students' minds, including professionals, students, and everyone across the state, the country, and the world, is this scenario. I think it encapsulates the situation where we are going to look at job losses and the larger challenges for people who want to join the workforce, students like you, is what is that scenario going to be post the COVID and this virus pandemic in the next couple of months? How is going to pan out? I'm sure there's enough information. WhatsApp University has covered it in detail. So I don't need to share a lot on that particular subject. So in the last couple of months, I mean, it's a couple of years, I would say, I, with a team of people, we have realized that entrepreneurship is an excellent career option for students who are going to step into the workforce. The challenges of jobs and getting that right job has been a challenge for young students for the last several years, because it's a competitive environment, domain skills. India has such a strong young population, and placing them in the right space at the right value has been a great challenge for this country. While I don't want to go into the very detailed specifics of how this has impacted, we will look at it as also as an opportunity to build something called what we call as entrepreneurship. If I could go to the next slide, please. Next slide. So as we get the next slide up, I would like for all of you to think of what entrepreneurship is for you. Is it a career option that you have thought of? Are there any people, like individuals, professionals, people from the business world who have come over to you and shared their views, thoughts? Have you yourself attended a program, workshop, covered some of the essentials of entrepreneurship? And is entrepreneurship limited to only a location, geographic location, or is it beyond that? So, could I have the next slide, please? All right. Okay. The one before that, please. Thank you. Slide 2. So, as we get the slide on entrepreneurship and we try and understand the various, I would say, the nuts and bolts of starting a business, and that's the primacy theme for today, is what are the nuts and bolts of putting together a business. Yes, that's fine. No, the one before that, please. Slide 3. Slide 3. Slide 3, please. Thank you. So some of you are in the students in the audience. You can use the chat option. You would see a couple of faces here on the slide. Can someone tell me who these gentlemen are on your screen? You can type it on your chat. It's perfectly all right. Or use any facility out there. And as you kind of, yes, absolutely right, perfect, Azim Premji, yes, well done. Narayan Murthy, great, yep, excellent, on track. Couple of other gentlemen there. Sanjeev Kapoor, yes, someone from your industry, from your space, yes. Two other gentlemen, or one or two other gentlemen. Anand Mahendra, well done. And there is one gentleman who's not in the limelight. Anyone would like to hazard a guess? I'll give you a clue. He's a Goan boy. Okay. Would you like another guess? He runs a foodie bricks, a cake, a confectionery cake shop, and he's a Michelin star rated chef who operates in Goa. No problem. His name is Kunal Arolkar. So when you get a chance, please do have a look at his profile. So there are some great guys out there in Goa or in India. And would you consider themselves to be entrepreneurs? Yes, I would assume so. I'm assuming all of y'all have the chat box, right? So could you tell me, while they are all in different areas of entrepreneurship, what are some of the common things that make them entrepreneurs? You can just write a couple of them on the chat. Something that hard work, excellent, perfect, well done, yes. Mindset, similar mindset, okay. Any other thoughts? Hard work is definitely the hallmark of an entrepreneur, because they are working not just through the day, that is 9 to 5, but they are also working on their idea, on their business in the evenings and sometimes into the night if they have to prepare a presentation or a project. Uniqueness, I'm not very clear what you mean by uniqueness. Is it unique to their business or unique to their domain? So I'm not very sure what you mean by uniqueness, but I'm looking for ideas. They all have ideas. Oh, yes, I do agree. Perseverance. Yes, absolutely right. They have a lot of perseverance, and similar to perseverance, they also have a lot of patience. Okay, they are ready to stick it out to see that their business succeeds. Well done. Any other thoughts that comes to your mind? You can try out different words, not a problem. Leadership, yes. Every entrepreneur has a leadership quality, and leadership is not just at business, not just in their workplace, but they also project that outside their workplace, whether they are in a social function or others. Yes, they all have a vision. If you see videos of each of these gentlemen, you will see they have a very strong vision. So does your institute, IIHL. They have a vision. Have a read through it, see what is their vision and whether it is something that gels with your thought. And that's probably the reason you were attracted to this college. Okay. Yes, that's the one I'm looking for. Risk and courage. Risk is one of the primary factors or strengths of an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur will always have that risk taking ability. And risk does not mean that you just jumping to a business and put it all out there. It's what we call calculated risk. To make it a little easier for everyday use, everyone says business is very risky. Yes, it is risky if you have not done the work well. So it's a risk today. You step out of your house, you might be on a bike, you might not wear a helmet, you might decide I'll take the risk, and something unfortunate happens. You step into a lift or into a supermarket without a mask, and you're putting yourself at risk. So business risk is of course very different, and you need to have the mask, the hand sanitizer, the hygiene, as I would put it, when you are stepping into the world of business. It's no different. And if you manage your risk well, you understand the risk, you will always succeed in business. Okay. Could I have the next slide, please? So have a thought about this particular aspect of this thing. If there's one word to encapsulate all this, what would you call it? You can put it on the chat. Hard work, perseverance, leadership. What would you think is one word that would describe all of them? You can take a chance, no problem. Anyone would like to take a guess? Okay, we'll come to that. Could I have the next slide, please? All right, so where do we get ideas from? This is the one challenge or one question that I'm asked whenever I am out. Give us a good idea. It's not that I can give you 100 ideas, but are those ideas the right idea for you? Okay. And often I'm asked this question, where do we get these ideas from? And it's a lot of inward exercise that one goes into. And these are some of the spaces that I have looked at as we have trained multiple students and entrepreneurs in our last 8 to 10 years in Goa. We ask you to look at what are some of the things that you have. So I have put down a couple of them. There could be more than these. But skills is one area that is a definite winner. So when you're talking about the area of hospitality industry, there are a whole lot of areas. The most basic ones, of course, cooking, baking, housekeeping. But there are several areas within this domain of the skills that you already have, which can be converted into a successful business. A hobby. I have a friend who enjoys photography, and he has now created a whole career around it. I know a lady, her name is Neha. She likes dancing, and she was going through some challenges with her work, and she decided to set up a dance academy, and that is doing pretty well. Domain expertise is a slightly different area. It's usually for someone who is very an excellent and has developed a strong domain in his or her expertise or his or her area. So for your industry, maybe in hospitality, I have a friend who was a GM of a successful five-star resort, and he did that for over 10 years. And he was getting a bit bored of this whole exercise. So he's decided to take some time out. And he now manages hotels across a couple of them in India, but two of them in Bhutan, because that's a new area. Not many people have moved into it. And because of his domain expertise of dealing with such large entities, he has created a niche for himself. So it could be in education, in several areas, and that's something you need to develop. A passion, maybe I have a friend who loves cycling, who started a cycling workshop or a cycling shop. And sometimes, it's as simple as an extra resource at your hand. So for example, I've been reading recently that taxi drivers, because of the COVID situation, have very little work. They have converted their cars into a mini supermarket. It's a great idea. It's an ideal resource. You could have a house, for example, with a garage, and you could convert that into a catering outfit. So just think, it doesn't have to be only the resources that you need to get out, but sometimes they are already there within you, and you could use that. Could I have the next slide, please? Yes. So ideas also come from study workshops or study programs, and one of them is the one today. But I'm sure y'all have all gone through these MOOCs. They are called MOOC. I'm sure all of y'all are familiar with it. I put up a couple of them that might also help you to get your entrepreneurship juices running. And of course, there are several talks that are available on TED and Stanford. A couple of them, like Coursera, is offering courses totally free of cost during this pandemic. So it's very amazing. I've attended webinars of organizations like McKinsey and BW World. I'm not sure if you have attended of any of their workshops or any of their talks. They have people from across every domain, including the hospitality sector, and their CEOs and their presidents and senior position people who come in and encourage you and have a chat with you. So I do encourage you to do that. A successful entrepreneur should be a great communicator. And there is no better organization than Toastmasters International. I've been part of it for over about 14, 15 years. It's a non-profit organization. And I encourage you to take the initiative, take the plunge, and attend our own online programs. We have it through the entire week, every month. And sometimes in a day, you can attend 3 or 4 of these meetings, club meetings, because you can connect to the entire world, because we are in 115 countries. If you're interested in that, do get in touch with me separately. I'll guide you and put you on the group. And of course, mentors. And finally, podcasts. I don't know if some of you do listen to podcasts on entrepreneurship. Do take a little time out and take that. Next slide, please. So coming to today's topic, funding your business. Let's look at the very simple and straightforward aspect of how to start your business. Have any of you heard of bootstrapping? Couple of you. You can send me a chat. But any business that you choose to start or are interested in starting should always involve some amount coming from you or an asset. I mentioned a car or a garage or anything that you have should be initially brought in. If it's a company that's in the IT or domain space, you should have at least a couple of customers who have taken up your service or your product before you can go for any sort of outside funding. And we will cover outside funding in the next couple of slides. And if you believe your business is good, then you must, they call it putting your skin in the game. That's the idiom that is used in the world of finance. So you should have your own skin in the game. Next slide, please. So I've already covered this a little bit in the initial stages. But as I said, you must be passionate about your business. Whether it's Kunal, whether it is Sanjeev Kapoor, who started a successful chain of restaurants, to Azim Premji, to Anand Mahindra. These are people who are an expert in their domain. They know what they are doing and they're passionate about it. You need to get, some of the challenges is how do we pay for salaries of staff in the initial stages? Give them equity. We can cover that a little more in detail, but basically equity is give them a portion of your own business that you're starting. So they again are more motivated to stay with you. You must have a business plan. It's the crux of any successful business venture. Is it absolutely required? Maybe not for a small business. You may, tomorrow, I'm just giving an example, set up a little grocery store. Maybe you may feel you don't need a detailed business plan, but you do need some of the details required on how to put together a business and understand budgets. I understand from Ms. Naik that you all are familiar with the aspects of, uh, of accounting, or what I call business arithmetic. That is things like cash flow, profit and loss. And these are the most vital aspects of putting together a business plan. And if you need any help in that area, definitely our organization have got an expertise of over 20 years in training and mentoring students to do that. Negotiate for inventory in the initial time, ask for a longer line of credit, and create a strong business model. I will cover business model through the entire 1 hour, and it's one of the slides. It's a separate one, but we will bring it up a little later. So I will cover business model, but it's an important area to understand your revenue flow. Could I have the next slide? So as we come to the next slide, this is, I think, the most one of the areas that your institute and Ms. Naik have asked me to cover. And what are the sources of funding for your venture? Now, when 20 years ago or 25 years ago, funding for businesses was extremely difficult. India was bureaucratic, red tapeism, and it was a huge challenge to even get basic finance to run it, to set up your business, to get credit lines, things like that. In the last 10 to 15 years, the entire landscape has changed. You have umpteen different sets of funding people, organizations, and you also have government who is deeply involved in funding and assisting you in starting your business. And while I've covered a couple, there is a plethora of organizations that can support you with your business venture. So don't worry about funding. That should be the least denominator for if your business idea is well thought out. I've put in a couple of ones that are there. CMRY, Chief Minister Rozgar Yojana, it's called, is an excellent program, and you get subsidies for Goans. It's one of the best schemes, probably not just in Goa, but I would say one of the best in the entire world, because you can get a loan for as little as 6% a year, an annum, okay, to start your own business. You have KVIC, a well-known organization to support your business, also in services. MSME is a well-known organization again. SIDBI for a little bigger loans, and banks. Banks are the hallmark of business, and at the present moment, they are flushed with funds. The government of India has released, I would say, a couple of thousands of crores to start and support new businesses. The Mudra Yojana is a hallmark program, and you can get up to 10 lakhs without collateral. It is unheard of. 20 years ago, if an entrepreneur had to go, he would have built, India would have been a powerhouse today, far ahead of some of the other countries. Okay, but that's not the topic for discussion today. Could I have the next slide, please? Yes, investors. So Investors are divided into various parts. There are venture capitalists, there are angel investors, there are private investors or private equity investors. So that's a huge topic. It would take me an entire 1 to 2 hours to go through the different types of investors that are available for you to succeed and to get funding. In Goa, we have Indian Angel Network. And in Goa, we have the Mumbai Angels, which now have an office in Goa. GCCI, I don't know if some of you have heard of, it's called the Goa Chamber of Commerce. They also have networks with people who can help you with your funding. I understand IIHM, I've gone on the website, they have the Sahas program that also supports you for funding. I'm not sure what are the criteria that is needed. I'm sure you all are well aware of it. But I encourage you that if there is such a scheme available, please take it, because I have not heard in India any organization, private organization, offering this kind of seed capital for building your business. So kudos to your organization for giving you such a leg up or such an opportunity. Some of you may have heard of SIBA. They're based in Nuvem and Agasai, and they also offer co-working space and connect with investors. So that's where the worlds of investors are. If you want information on entrepreneurship, you should definitely look at Your Story and NEN Online. There are several others, but these are ones that I kind of track and follow. Now you have LinkedIn and you have Twitter and you have so much information. I'm not going to go into that particular area. Next slide, please. I just thought I'll cover a little bit about iCreate as an organization, the one that I'm connected with. I hope I'm doing all right on time. So it's an organization that I'm connected with for the last 10 years. And it would be only fair to tell you that iCreate India is one of the foremost non-profit organizations in India to build grassroots entrepreneurs. I've put in the link over there. We have trained in Goa itself over 300 people, entrepreneurs, and we have covered over 5,000 to 6,000 students over the last 7 to 8 years. A lot of entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, have gone and successfully started their own enterprise. And we are proud to say that we have close to about 80 to 100 entrepreneurs now operating in Goa. So we know the subject matter. We have been doing it for several years. And I encourage you as students, and I also reach out to your organization to work with us, where we can assist you with your understanding your business idea, understanding your business plan, vetting it, helping you with the steps of creating a viable business presentation, and eventually get funding. So you must understand that a business plan by itself is not enough. And here I thought I'll share my own personal story with you. I don't just lecture on entrepreneurship. I also have done entrepreneurship. So I have set up my own business. So I'll tell you a little story about in the initial years of my training and in my life. When I finished my Bachelor's of Commerce, I thought I was a pretty good guy and I know everything about business. And when I finished my commerce graduation, someone told me that you must start a computer training academy. This was way back in 95, 96. That was a huge, euphoria about computer training centers. There were already several in Margao, and I went to my bank and I asked them, "What do you need?" "I need funding for my business." They said, "You need a business plan and you need the financials in place." I'm a commerce graduate. I've studied finance. I've understood account. I thought I understood accounts. But what they teach in college and what is reality are two different things. And as I went deeper into it, I was totally lost. So I went to my chartered accountant and he prepared a business plan. He gave me all the financials and he says, go and give this to the bank and your loan will be done. I would like to tell you, I had not fully understood what he had prepared. I went to the bank, gave them all the paperwork. They said, yeah, it looks all right. Do you have some sort of guarantee? They take guarantee, surety, a whole lot of things that were taken from me. And I jumped into the world of computer training center and business. What do you think happened? There were already a lot of computer training centers in the city. The bank manager asked me, have you understood what you have presented? I said, of course. I'm a pretty sharp guy. That was not really the reality. And when I actually started my business, I realized those financial paperwork that was presented was not the actual state, that was not the actual numbers coming in. And what we did, we kept taking additional loan, pumping it into the business, and not seeing the profitability coming in. 2 years into the business, we had something called the .com bust. With that, several IT companies, computer training academies closed down overnight. And soon we were in a really difficult position. We didn't have students enrolling because there was no future for IT jobs. And we had costs like salaries and running our center without a proper income. And unfortunately, after another year, we had to close down the center. A very painful exercise. But it taught me a lot about what to do in business, but most important, what not to do. And what not to do is what you don't understand. Maybe that's not the exact business that you should put in a lot of energy, resources, and time. That learning experience helped me with my future business projects. Eventually, I decided to do my master's in entrepreneurship and took up teaching or reaching out to students like you and professionals on what are the nuts and bolts and understanding the world of business so that you would not make a mistake like me in the initial years. So iCreate has a proven model that is available, which you can learn. We have trained faculty that can help you to take that next leap or to take the leap into the world of business. Could I have the next slide, please? So just a little bit about our mission. We also have goals, a mission. You can have a little bit about it. We also have a fund that is for grassroots entrepreneurs. They're small loans that help people at grassroots level to get their initial funding. Next slide, please. So a couple of newspapers have covered us. I've done areas on banking. We did a program for State Bank of India and Bank of India. And I would encourage you that if that is an area you are interested in understanding the several schemes that are available, please bring in an expert from the world of finance. For example, a DGM from a bank or one of the directors of EDC or one of their trustees, because they have a pulse on the entire world of finance. And there are also several angel investors in Goa. There is a recent one called Venture Capital I've been reading about, started by Mr. Rajkumar Kamath and his team, which I believe has some interesting aspects. There is also Vibrant Goa, and the team there are doing an excellent job in encouraging Goan youth to take the plunge into business. They are holding several webinars. Several of them are actually free of cost. So I encourage students and people who are on this webinar to attend them and take that benefit and advantage. Could I have the next slide? Yes, we've done a program with Marmagua Port Trust for the people around their area, and it was very fulfilling. We've had quite a few of them who have started their own business venture, uh, and have done pretty well. So just a thought on that. Next slide. So I just thought a little bit of a funnel for you, how iCreate works. We do an awareness. Today is actually an awareness on the world of entrepreneurship through the lens of iCreate. We do a workshop, which is usually 8 to 10 days if it's online, 5 days if it's one-on-one or in a classroom environment, and we can help you with that. We do offer services on business planning, understanding your business plan, and helping you through the nuts and bolts and numbers behind it. And of course, your journey handhold you into the world of entrepreneurship through access to capital and telling you what are the different opportunities for capital to succeed in your business. Next slide, please. I've covered a couple of success stories of iCreate for you. We've got a whole host of them, but these were the three that I thought would be of some interest to you because they were done recently through the MPT exercise. All of them have done pretty well. Vishwesh had what we call the coveted government job, and he left that job and has taken up photography as his passion and has actually done pretty well. Covers events and things like that. So a bit of a story out there. Yes, next slide, please. So I have done a couple of interviews on entrepreneurship. You can check it online. You can use the Google search. I'm also involved in the world of design or design thinking. It's a new emerging area for young people, and I encourage you to watch the video. And if you are interested in the world of creativity and design, I encourage you to look at the prudent one that I've done on design and design aspects. That completes my presentation that I have here. How much time do I have? Should I bring up the business model? Would you like me to show you the business model slide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Could you just bring it up? It's on your. It's written there, business model canvas or something like that. If you have any questions, you can put it in your chat or whatever you like. I do encourage you to ask questions. That way, I know I haven't bored you. Yes, the business model canvas. Perfect. Absolutely right. Could just, yeah, thank you. Yes, zooming. Yes, perfect. I encourage, it's actually, it's available online, the tool. And of course, I've given it to your director and team at IIHM. And it's very easy. You can kind of fill it up. And if you fill this up properly, follow all the aspects of key partners, the key activities, your cost structure. If you go through it step by step, this business model canvas is actually a snapshot of your business plan. So it makes it very easy for you and your team to brainstorm on this business model canvas. And it can also force you to be focused on what you want to achieve in your business. So I definitely recommend that you work on this over the next couple of days and build a bit of thought on that. Please do ask me questions so that I know whether we are on track. Yeah. So what's the difference between the Coursera free courses and the paid virtual courses offered by the reputed institutes and users? Is it all right if I take questions, Pragya?
Yes, sir, you can.
Okay. So Coursera is offering free courses at the moment because they know that there is a challenge for the student community. So though they do, it's a paid course. Most of their courses are paid for, but they've given you that window of 6 months to jump in and do a course. However, if you want um, a proper degree, some of them like Stanford, Harvard, or even Indian universities are offering you a sort of a degree course that's run through through Udemy and edX, and that is a very vital certificate because it helps you to get the job that you are looking for. I recently attended a webinar by SSIMS. Sorry, I think it's a Bombay-based university, well known. I'll get it in a moment. They also are of SP Jain. I remember SP Jain is offering an online course. It's a paid course, and they go into the very detail and into the course, and you actually attend how we are doing it today. You attend, you can ask questions. You have everyone's photograph on. Everyone's on video chat, so you can ask actual questions to your faculty and get answers. So it's a proper classroom sort of environment. So sometimes paid course works. Whatever works for you. Any questions? Do feel free to write out. I'm used to a classroom environment where there's a lot of buzz. So I can make out, I can see everyone's faces, so it's a lot easy for me. A bit difficult over here.
Students, we
Pragya,
are open to take questions. You can
yeah.
please leave in if you have any questions in the chat box.
Anyone can ask me. It's not only the students, but if any of your faculty or any of you would like me
Yes.
to answer, I'm happy to take questions. Not a problem. Can the students come online? Can they speak? Some of them would like to ask. That's also perfectly all right. You can unmute them or whatever, open their video. So that's not a problem.
I have a question actually,
Please
sir.
do. Please
So
do.
in the meantime, while the students are yes,
Sure,
uh,
sure.
you had mentioned, sir, earlier that before we approach we need to have a few customers before we approach for funding.
Correct.
So when do we know that we are ready to approach? Now go ahead and get apply for a finance or go ahead with funding.
Got it. I guess it when a customer buys your product, they give you feedback. You start improving your product. While you're doing that, if say, I'm just giving an example, it could be Amazon, for example. On Amazon, I'm giving a very simple example. I know a lady who does earrings. So she started online. She started putting them online. She got a couple of orders. She shipped them by courier. She got feedback that you could improve on the packaging. You could do these couple of things. As the sale started of the earrings, other people started talking about it. There's chatter on that Facebook. People were saying, I love this, I wore this, I wore it here. And as a matter of fact, in her case, there was an NGO organization that does funding. They approached her and said, would you like to take money from us and build your business? So customer is, I would say, are the proof that your product or service has got a marketable, it's a marketable product or service. Otherwise, it just remains on paper. So that's how I would say is, as you start building your business, your product starts selling, people will start asking you for more of them, and you realize you need money to run, you need a cash flow. You need to pay your vendors, and that's a good situation. and the banker or anyone opposite you will say, yeah, I will fund your business. So that's how it works. Thanks for the question.
We
We've got
have
a
one more
question.
question.
Yes,
We
yes.
have one more question.
Yeah.
What is the most memorable experience as an entrepreneur?
Quite a few memorable experiences. I think the more recent one that I have we had started along with my wife. We started an organic store in Madgaon. It's called Earthlings, and that very memorable because we created a niche area for Goa that is organic and healthy living. And we try to change the thought process of people in Goa, or people visiting Goa, in choosing healthier options, organic options, chemical-free products, foods, clothes, cosmetics. And the memorable part was a lot of people told us that they really saw a change in their health, in their vigor, in their life. And though we had to shut the shop for reasons because of staffing, and we had several issues in terms of the business model. And now we have moved online. That was one that gave us a lot of. It was quite memorable. Any other thoughts?
Any more questions, students?
Yes. So, an entrepreneurship course is helpful only to set a business. What are the other options? So, Persini, I didn't understand exactly your question. So, is helpful only to, okay. So, what I understand from you is that is entrepreneurship needed only to set up a business, or are there other options? I think it's what I think it's a very well thought out question. I've not heard that for a long time. Excellent question. Entrepreneurship is not only to set up business. Well put. So the world of business, and I would say the career world, has changed over the last couple of years. So let's take an example. Typically, you go for a job interview. They ask you a series of questions about your skill, how good you are, and you land up a job. Today, the world has changed, especially in the world of e-commerce businesses, and a whole insurance and a whole segment of businesses are looking for attitude and leadership qualities in an employee. I'm sure your college also must have covered that with you in the last since you have joined this college. And entrepreneurship is one such program that helps you not only to think of your work, but also helps you to think of how you can use the aspects of business in your workplace. So before I come to the next question, I'll just cover that just for a second in detail. So let us take an example of an insurance company. You go for a job interview. Let's take Bajaj as an example. You can take LIC, but I'll just say Bajaj or Max or whatever it is. And you land up for a job interview and they say, we are not hiring anymore. But what we can do is, there is a place in South Goa, for example, Kankan, where we don't have an office. And from your resume, it shows you are from Kankan. We will assist you to set up a Bajaj Allianz office in Kankan. Would you like to take up the challenge? And it's up to you. But if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, you might say, yes, I'll take the challenge. And your job will be to hire people. Your job will be to look after the accounts, finance, build a business, connect with customers, provide service. You have to do it as an entrepreneur. And you have also landed up a job. So, yeah, entrepreneurship can be used in there. It's also used by companies increasingly now for assisting people who have good ideas to set up a business within a company. It's called intrapreneurship. And taking your hospitality sector as an example, I've heard of a five-star hotel, for example, who has a large property, and they have an excellent chef, a guy who they don't want to lose. He's magic. Ramsey, I think one of the top chefs. So how do they entice him? It's not by money. So they tell him, you know what? We'll give you a space to set up a restaurant, and you run that as your own venture, and we'll have a split. You keep 60% or 50%, whatever is the decision, and the balance will come to us. And hey, you have got a business, as part of your job. So that's just a thought. I hope it covers your answer. What is the greatest fear as an entrepreneur? That's a good one. What is the greatest fear? I will not say entrepreneurs are fearless. It's a pretty bold statement. But I encourage you to watch a couple of videos on YouTube and do attend webinars where entrepreneurs come in. And you will see, they have a different relationship with fear. Let me put it this way. Their relationship with fear. And how can I explain that? I think, though it's a cliche person, but the Reliance Group run by Mukesh Ambani is such a phenomenal risk-taking company. In this entire COVID pandemic situation where every business owner, whether he's a small restaurant owner, taxi driver, to Fortune 500 companies, their perennial webinar newspaper is, how will we deal with this pandemic? How are we going to get out of this? We may have to shut down. We have had to lay off hundreds of employees. We need extra finance. We need more money. They have got a plethora of requests to the government. Cut GST, do this, do that. It's unbelievable. And this gentleman has gone and bought businesses. I'm sure most of you may have read recently that he's going to acquire the Biani Group, the Shoppers, Big Bazaar Group, Future Group. He's going to acquire Future Group, which is a pretty large entity. He's going to take that over. He sold part of because he realized that there is a challenge in the business environment. He didn't reach out to the government. He says, you know what, I'll start selling the profitable business over to venture capitalists or to bigger companies. So he sold part of his company to Facebook, to Google, to private investors. And I don't keep up to date on numbers, but I understand that because of his sale of stake in some of the companies, India's foreign exchange has gone up by a couple of $1 billion. And while making him a pretty rich guy, I recently, my wife told me that he's now top 5 in the world. So that's quite commendable for a gentleman whose business is barely 25, 30, 40 years. So yeah, it's a good one. But yeah, we take up risk when we are doing your business plan. What comes first? Do we work on the business plan based on finance?
Question.
Sorry?
That's my question.
Oh, that's your question. Sorry, I don't know. What comes first? Do we work on the business plan based on finance available, or do we create a business plan and then work towards collecting finance? Neither. Okay, I'll explain that. Don't worry.
Yes.
So business plan is an outcome. Okay. So business plan is an outcome. So I would have gone through a presentation, but probably I don't know whether it will be too much overload for y'all in one day. But there is a whole segment on this thought process. But may I ask you just one question? leave this aside. What is more important? So you put finance, right? Finance is of course money. So what is more important for a business? Is it finance or is it something else?
The
What would
idea,
the idea?
the idea.
Okay, kudos on that. It's the idea, correct? It's the idea that will fund your business and will get your business plan in shape. Because there are million ideas. Okay, everyone's idea is the best, but is that a viable business proposition? Will someone fund that business idea? Will people have faith in that business whether it will do well? These are the questions that come into play. If you're able to cover that checklist, your business plan comes in automatically. And finance, the aspect of finance and business plans are correlation. They go hand in hand. So as you develop your business plan, the financial part of it is the most critical component to complete that business plan. So as I said, it's neither, it's right. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
Students, do you have any other questions?
So I do encourage your group of students, cohort of students, to look at let them look at their business idea in a little more detail, because if they have done aspects of finance and things like that, I would have expected questions related to their specific business plan. So maybe they need a little more thought process on the entire every aspect of ideas leading up to the business plan, and eventually hand holding them. And as I said, your Sahas program, right? Or Sahas program.
Sahas.
Sahas. I think
Sahas,
it's
yes.
a phenomenal opportunity, for any institute. As I said, I've not heard of many except the top, of course. IIT, IIMs are offering some sort of funding, but for private sort of ventures, it's a very, very commendable task. And I think
Thank you.
not only your students from Goa, but across the country should definitely take this up as an opportunity and find, it may not be a restaurant today. It could be a food delivery business, a hygienic food delivery business. I think it's created a whole new area, a whole new space for food. Because I've read a book that says by Lee Iacocca, and he says food will never go out of business. There will always be demand for food. In India, we have roti, kapada, or makan, the
Okay.
three hallmarks of a human need. So I would definitely put food as something that people will want, but the way they consume it will be very different. Giving an example of the new movie which was released on Netflix or on this OTT, Disney, Hotstar. I mean, we would go to a theater, but today a movie is going to be released on, on the internet. Who would have thought that you would see a movie on the internet, sitting
True.
at home? First day, first show at home. So
Yes.
it's the way we consume has changed, and I think so should your industry.
Yes. So thank you so much for sharing great insights with us today and
You're
for your
most
time,
welcome.
sir. I
My
think we've
pleasure.
come to the end of the session today. Thank you for sharing your experience with us.
It's been my pleasure, and definitely, if anyone has any questions, they can send it to you, and I'm happy to answer them. Using online or any other medium they would like me to connect.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank
We
you.
will now come to an end of the session. You can leave the chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Prabhu.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye.